Good evening, good evening, good evening. We are a couple of minutes early today. Loads of you got a little reminder to suggest that we're going to be here. So if you got that email, thanks for joining us. I'm going to make sure that my YouTube doesn't play over the top so you don't get any crazy echo. If you're not watching this live and it's after the end of the free trial week, don't worry. You can check out the regular free trial that's on the Tailored Tutors website. Also, if you are watching this not live, you're welcome to pull up the chat so you can see we're going to be interacting with everyone live, but it's going to make your experience way better if you do have the chat open. Hey to some familiar names and faces, Amina and Paulie. I imagine we're going to have a little bit more company today. So we've had loads and loads of questions basically about the free trial and a few bits and pieces today. Hey, Ryan, we want to just answer some of them, make sure you're nice and clear. We're going to be here to do some homework help. Sadly, Chemistry Richard is not going to be joining us today. He's had to leave at last minute, so we really apologise for that. But we are here on Saturday for all of your A-level biology, chemistry and maths questions in our special Zoom room. And I'm going to explain how to get there and how to join. And you can bring all your questions and all your homework problems, and we will fix them for you. So, Ronnie, how you doing?
I am doing good. I'm hoping for some maths questions tonight. I fancy doing some maths.
Okay, you're so eager for the math. We're going to definitely get around to all your questions. If you've got A-level chemistry questions, still send them in. The awesome thing about TT is you're with a full community of students. So there's probably going to be a load of students in the chat who will be able to help you out. I know that there's lots of former students who still join us because they like the experience. And we're actually going to be inviting some former students to be joining us in the session today, because what I thought might be nice is for those students who've been trying it out for the free trial all week, I want to find out what you think about it, and I want you to be able to ask some questions to some students who've been using it for a year or more. So, like, I know that it's awesome, but you can ask like real students who have been using the course and get a really good idea from them what the course is like. So, let's all see what's first on my list. Oh, okay, my first question is, like, I'm assuming most of you got an email from the student room, which is how you got to know about the free trial that was happening this week. And we have seen a whole load of those emails that have gone out, and they haven't really displayed very well. So what I want you to do is to find the email that we sent out on Tuesday between 3 and 6 p.m. this week. So what was the date there? 23rd or 24th, I think was Tuesday maybe. So find the email that you got from the student room and just forward it to office@tailoredtutors.co.uk. I'm really, really intrigued. Okay, so get your mobile phones out, find that email, just pull up your email client. I'd rather you forward it to me from mobile because that's where most of the issues seem to be. So find the email in your inbox, send it through to us, and I want to figure out what proportion of those emails were not displaying correctly. So that goes for all of you. It will be super handy for us to see. Okay, right, what's first on my list? How's it been this week? Those of you that have been using the free course all week, it's now just after 8 o'clock. I want to know what have you liked about it the most? What you found super useful? Anything in that you've got to suggest to improve it? How many of you have left comments? I answered all my comments this morning. There haven't been very many. There's like thousands of people in the course this week trying it out, absolutely ultimate guide access, asking questions, all the stuff that we get, all the PDFs, all the question packs. Like, I haven't had many questions to answer. Ronnie, how about you? Have you had many questions?
No, and also I've only had one. I had a really good question that from somebody who did something in class, didn't understand the proof, took a picture of what was on the board in their lesson, and then uploaded that as a comment and said, can you explain what's on the board? Which I thought, no one's ever done that before as a student. Genius idea, as well as just like, you know, I don't understand this topic, or here's a particular question, or where have I gone wrong? Really good idea. Take a picture of the end of the board in your lesson and then say, you know, third line down, what on earth is going on? Because in maths, I think it is, I used to do it in lectures where I'd sit there thinking, I think he's made a mistake. I think he's made a mistake. But you think, oh, that's probably me. Oh, no. And then you spend so long thinking about whether or not to go, I think you made a mistake. Because if they didn't, you're worried you'd look like an idiot. That you spent so long thinking whether or not to do it that then you get lost because you're not listening anymore to the next few steps of the proof. So, yeah, I thought that was a really good idea. And I hope whoever it was have given a sufficiently good explanation. But if not, you know, they can ask more questions. That's the whole point.
Awesome. I'm just giving Trav a little message. I just want to make sure everyone goes through that weight, Trav. So just a little sneaky side message to Travis in the sidelines there. Yeah, so if anyone is still being held up in that weight, just put it to 5 minutes and then let them all shoot through. Okay, secret side chat aside. So yeah, Paulie, you asked me a question about, was it respiration or fermentation in yeast? I'm going to just hold it, copy it in the clipboard or whatever, come back to me. We're going to do the Q&A after I've given you all the information. I absolutely will do that. There's a really good Edexcel question on basically soil nutrients in plants, which is obviously totally different to yeast, but the principles of like what control variables to keep the same or what things to change are very, very, very similar to that question. So remind me of that at the end, Paulie, and I'll come and answer that.
I like the fact that, who was it? Said Jordan said maths question coming up, right? That was a good like 5 minutes ago. What I would guess is that Jordan is still typing it in because maths questions are like up, squared.
Maybe that's what we need to invent, Ronnie. We need to invent like a little way of what would be the easiest? Could you do like
photo? Well, that's what's so good on our course, though. I think is that you can literally just take a photo of the question, or take a photo. You have to in maths. You can't type it in. It has to be a photograph, or it has to be a video of someone doing it. It has to be. There isn't another way. And that's what I think is so good is people can upload a photo of their work and say, I don't know where I went wrong, or an upload of an equation that they've got to solve. They don't have to type it in. And I wish on YouTube chat we could have that same thing, because then math students could just go like, boom, here's the question, rather than sitting there for ages, bracket X up to bracket, and then we spend ages going, do you mean 5x plus 2 or do you mean 5x plus 2 because they're different? All those conversations. Anyway, the maths equation has arrived. Okay.
Yeah, but
am I not allowed to do it? Okay, I'll write it down. Jordan, I'm going to jot it down on this bit of paper. It will take 2 seconds to explain how to do that. It's just simultaneous equations. So we'll do that when Rich has talked through all the questions that we've already got emailed to us that we said we'd answer.
So yeah, I want to know from you guys before we get going, what have you liked? I want a load of interaction today. I want lots of high energy in the room. I want people to be sending me all sorts of bits and pieces. Like when we're asking you questions, ping you. Loads of you doing a really good job. Hanzala asked us, why should you forward the student room email? I want to see how it looked when you received it on your mobile phone, because obviously I paid money for it to be sent out and it didn't look how I told them I wanted it to look. So I just want to see whether that was a massive problem that applied to all of you, or whether that was just the odd one or two and it was a weird browser or something like that. So send us through those emails. I know Sarah said you've done it. Thanks so much. It's going to make a huge difference. Okay, so also, any volunteers, any experienced TT users who've been using the course for a bit more than just the free trial this week, who wouldn't mind joining us in the Zoom room? So you can appear on screen. We can maybe do camera on, camera off, but we will need audio. You will need a webcam. You will need a microphone. Anyone who's totally up for basically answering questions from the student community. So anyone who's not hugely experienced with the course, any questions that you might have for people who've used the course for a long time. Obviously, you can ask them, other students who are going to give you a more impartial view of the course. Davina, hey, I am. Is that about joining us in the Zoom room? Put Zoom if you fancy joining us in the Zoom room. You completed your A-levels, so you're joining us at university and whatnot. There's quite a lot of former students, and yeah, that TT student community, I think Davina actually started, I might be crediting you incorrectly here, but we had a really thriving student community that started completely spontaneously from our web classes last year. It was a WhatsApp group, and we're going to be looking at developing a Facebook community, I think, so you guys can, who are using the TT courses, it'll be a private group, and you can help each other out. So you'll not only have the support of us teachers, but you're going to have a student support network of thousands of other students who are going to be studying your exam board, your subject, so you can help each other out. Okay, sweet. So we've got Davina. We're not going to go just yet, but I definitely will. I vote Shannon. Okay, so Paulie, are you forwarding Shannon's? Okay. Shannon, was it Shannon? You also were in the WhatsApp group. So yeah, I know we're going to look at formalizing that. Last year, it just grew up spontaneously for students helping students, which was awesome. But this year, we want to have a little bit more structure to it so we can make it example specific and all that kind of good stuff. Okay, so those of you who've been using the free trial, I want to know how you found it, and I want to know think of those questions you can use to test those students who are going to be joining us in the Zoom a little bit later on. We'll try and keep today nice and concise. I'm just looking at my notes. Okay, let's run through all the competitions. We had lots of people, I think Trav's had loads of people just asking for the details on the competitions and stuff like that. I am going to share my screen and sort of take you through some of the major comps and all the different things that are going on, where you can find the information. So obviously if you miss the details, you don't have to take notes, you can just come and view it. So let's share this window. What you'll probably see, first of all, if you're logging back in again for the first time, once you've confirmed your email, you'll see all these courses a little bit confusing. What I suggest is you go to this, you'll find this, it'll be at the top of your My Courses page. So you can go into this course here, and then you can see there's only 3 lessons. I've added these 2 just recently. So basically what you need to do, this is the first lesson here. You've got a nice video of me, you've got a link to all the YouTube lives and all the past YouTube lives this week. This is the web class that we're doing on Saturday. This is where you can ask us all your questions. You can experience what our real web classes are going to be like. Obviously, the free trial ends this Sunday, so make sure you make the most of it. If you've got friends who want to, you would think you'd benefit from this, they can not only do that, but they can actually get a month for free as well. So it's not just ending on Sunday. You can actually get a full month if you wanted to. And then you can use this as your contents page and view some of the lessons and all the bits and pieces like that. So let's go to the competitions next. I'll explain each of the competitions. Okay, so we've got competition number 1. Follow us on Instagram. This is our Instagram page right here, Tailored Tutors. I'm sure you'll be able to find it. You'll find this post from Tuesday. Tag a friend. Basically, for every friend that you tag who does A-level biology, chemistry, or maths, your name goes into the hat. And on Saturday, we're going to pull a name out of the hat, and you're going to win the course for you and your friends at the end of 2018. All the details are here. You can register for that live class to find out who the winners are. Competition number 2. Super easy. You're on YouTube right now. All you've got to do is hit the subscribe button, follow our YouTube channel. I'd also recommend hitting the bell so you get notified when we're doing live broadcasts and all that kind of fun stuff. What else is the competition all about? Competition number 3, leave a written Google review. So basically, the easiest way to find this, there's a link there if you want. Just search in Google Maps for Tailored Tutors. You'll see this. And then down the bottom here, you can see all the reviews, and you can write a review down the bottom. It's pretty straightforward, but just Google Maps, search Tailored Tutors, and you'll find something like that. Next competition, I'm going super quickly, but all of these have the prize that you can win the course for free, 0 payment to the end of the year. So I highly recommend, if you're interested, you found the course useful. There's not been a huge number of entries, I'll actually say. Been a little bit disappointed with some of you for not entering, but that means you've got a really good, solid percentage chance of actually winning. It's not like the lottery where you got 1 in 14 million. It's, yeah, you've got a pretty good odds. Number 4, same thing, Facebook. So Facebook have changed from reviews to recommendations, but basically find the Tailored Tutors page. It's still called reviews in the tab over here. I'm sure you can then figure this out. But please do write at least 1 sentence. If there's no text, we won't enter you into the competition. Same deal, you win the course at the end of the year, yada, yada, yada. And the last one is naming our traffic light system. So every lesson in the course this year, one of our new features is that you've got these 3 traffic lights that you can change color. And you'll see that as I'm changing it on over here, it'll change in the curriculum view over here as well. So if you watch a video, I suggest that you do this every single time you watch a video. You at least mark it a color so you can see which ones you've done, and you can use this to, oh, I actually need to come back to this one and do some extra work, or actually I like this one, I've done it, I've done the questions, I got really good scores. And so basically that tells you all of that kind of stuff as well. Whilst I'm on a roll and I've got my tabs open, I think I'm just going to go for it. Most of you, I'm guessing, have got student room accounts. So if you search Tailored Tutors for here, in fact, Trav, I think you've got some of the links to here. There's not been much, there's loads of you. I would like you just to share your honest opinions on some of these forums here. So is Tailored Tutors any good for biology? It's got loads of views, hasn't had many comments. I would be totally stoked after you've had a good chance, look around and have a crack at it. Just like leave a little comment. More students can help each other out, then the better, basically. And there's one more. If you're interested, Trav, you can maybe throw this in there. Tailored Tutors or SnapRevise. Let's throw this over to the group right now. What do you guys have a preference for? Have any of you used SnapRevise? And if so, I want to know what you think about it. Which ones do you think which one's better? And if you've got an opinion on it, either way, I'd love you to let it be known on those student room forums. I think it would be nice to just get the word out there. I know what I think about it. I think that our courses are totally awesome. But yeah, I'd definitely like to get some opinions. Ryan, you said the traffic light system is so good. I'm glad you like it.
No, he's talking at Ryan's saying that his suggestions for the name for the traffic light system.
Oh, for the competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's been a few entries. Ryan has entered naming the traffic light competition. To enter that, you simply send an email to office@tailoredtutors.co.uk with traffic light or traffic lights or traffic light comp. Traffic lights in the subject line and travel notes. Put it in an inbox, and then we're going to review them all and announce the winner in that web class on Saturday. If you want to join that web class on Saturday to find out who won, to ask us questions and to get a few extra sneaky bonuses and ways to win, then you can, when I can find the lesson, I'll screen share just one more time so you can see. No, that's the wrong window. That's the right window. So in the welcome lesson, I don't need to play the video to myself. You can see this here is the special, so you can register and then we'll send you a little email to basically invite you to the room at 3 p.m. on Saturday. Right, lots of information overload. Obviously, you can come back and watch the recording. In the course itself, you can find all the competitions here in this tab. And what if you want to use, who would like to continue using TT for more than this week? I want to see that in the YouTube, in the chat there. If you would like who would like a month totally for free? Like, no questions asked. I want to see this in the chat. I mean, there's a bit of a delay, so I'll fill out. Were there any other questions I should be dealing with whilst we're waiting for people to ask the question if they'd like?
Yeah, there was a question about the past paper library, saying how come we don't get it in the free trial, but I thought they did get it in the free trial, the past paper library.
I didn't include the past paper library in this free trial, simply because you can download. It's so convenient to download all of the past papers ever, basically, that I reserved it for only our paying Ultimate Guide people. So because you could basically then log in, download everything, and then never need it again. So I wanted to keep a little bit of exclusivity to it.
Cool. And also Danish is saying, how do you join the web classes that are on the actual website, the subject classes? So basically starting next week, Tuesdays biology, Wednesdays chemistry, Thursdays maths, and we're doing 6 o'clock till 8 o'clock every single week, all year, teaching you, making sure you're okay, touching base, live classes like this. And the way that you join that, once you're an Ultimate Guide subscriber, or if you've got the free week, then you can have next week, you go to that particular day and it just says register here. It's not a big deal to register, it takes 2 seconds, but it just means that it gives you an opportunity to say that you're coming and say whether there's anything specific you'd like to go over in that class, and then we know how many we've got coming and we know what people want to look at. That's all it is. But yeah, when you go to on your my courses, one of them will be webinars, maths webinars or biology webinars, or did it say webinars or web classes?
Web classes.
Yeah, same thing. And when you go in that class, then there's one thing to click on per week, so you can then click on that, and you could just sit there and register for the whole lot straight away. And then that means, Rich, that you get emailed or texted a reminder with
we send you a reminder by email an hour before the class starts. I mean, do make a note obviously when it's happening, but with the pattern is going to be the same every single week, so it's not going to be too tricky to remember, in that Tuesday 6 p.m. year 12 biology, Tuesday 7 p.m. year 13 biology, same for year 12 and year 13 for chemistry on Wednesday, Thursday for maths. They're all recorded, and if you miss them, you can come back and view them later on. Okay, so lots of people saying they would like to try it for free. Well, basically, we've just updated our pricing page. Shall I show people through it? I'll just give you one little sneak preview before we interview a couple of little students there. I've lost my Zoom window. Share my desktop. That's my desktop, literally my desktop. That's a photo of me snowboarding. That's not what we want to see, is it? Okay, let's pick your year. First of all, super straightforward. Are you in year 12? Are you in year 13? Common question. Year 13 students, if you buy a year 13 course, you get all of the year 12 materials and all of the year 13 materials. The courses are linear. We know how to teach it. We would not try and make you pay for it twice. So let's say you're year 13. And you want to do, you choose your subject. If you want more than one subject, such as biology, chemistry, and maths, let's say you do all of them, I will show you how it works. Then you're going to choose the ultimate guide. The free month is ultimate guide only. You won't get it won't be free if you want the starter guide, so you may as well just go for the ultimate guide here. And then actually, if you choose to enroll in this, I'll do it in a new tab, then you'll see that we've actually pre-applied the coupon. Anyone buying any ultimate guide package between now and Wednesday, when this coupon expires, the first month is free, which is pretty awesome. But if you do want, let's say, biology, chemistry, and maths together, then you can add it here and you choose your exam boards after the checkout page. You go to a form and you tell us your exam boards, and then we tidy up your My Courses page after that. So don't panic. You can't choose your courses from before when you're buying biology and chemistry or maths and chemistry, any of those types of things. The coupon code should already apply to these guys as well. So all the multiple subject courses are free as well for the first month, as well as all the ultimate guides. And that's basically all you need to know, I think, for now. Well, any other common questions, Trav, you can let me know. I think we've got the multiple exam boards we've done, and multiple subjects. I think that's more or less it. I'll send you a message. Let's see what this is.
I've got a question about a maths question. Am I allowed to do it?
Yeah, let's do that, and I'll set a student up to come and answer some questions.
Yes.
So
okay,
before Ronnie's answer,
let me get my board.
Send us your questions to ask a TT student who's been using the course for some time. I obviously don't know what they're going to say. So prepare your questions. If you want real advice from a real student, that might be about, Davina just told me she's going to the university first year this year, so it might be advice on going to university, but I'd obviously recommend asking questions about the course itself. And I'll see if there's any others in there who want to join us, and I'll bring you into the room as well.
Okay, so this is my very, very quick demonstration. Can you see that board all right?
I can see it.
Yeah? Okay. So there are, in statistics, there are discrete probability distributions and continuous probability distributions. A probability distribution is literally the distribution of the probabilities. So it's, of all the things that could happen, how are the probabilities of each thing distributed, shared out? So for example, a coin, there are two things that can happen. The probabilities are 50% and 50%. How are they spread out? 50 there, 50 there. If you have something like a biased dice and it's more likely to land on the lower numbers, then the probabilities will be distributed not uniformly. You might get like 0.5 for, you know, it might have a 50-50 chance of rolling a 1 if it's a really biased dice. So the probability distribution is the distribution of the probabilities. And I just imagine it as a sort of bell curve like this. So if you have a discrete situation, binomial distributions, they model discrete situations where you're doing n trials, and each trial, yes or no, yes or no. So you can't have 1.5 yeses, because you're only doing 5 trials. You can have 1 yes, no yeses, 3 yeses. You can't have 2.5. So binomial distribution is models a discrete situation. Now that means that I could have none of them, 1 of them, 2 of them, 3 of them, 4 of them, 5 of them, 6 of them, whatever. And then each of those has its own probability of happening. Now in certain situations, which is where you've got a really big number and the curve is the distributions are kind of symmetric, then you can use the normal distribution, which normally, that's the other normally, colloquial normally, the normal distribution normally, colloquially, measures something like length, weight, height, something continuous, where you can have 4.78924 things. So well, I'm modeling this discrete situation with a continuous curve like this, as if my blocks down the end no longer exist and it's a real number line going across. Now that means that you have to be super, super careful when you switch from one to the other. You have to use a continuity correction, but it's so easy. All you do is this. All you do is you write down, say we were doing in a binomial distribution, probability that X is bigger than 3, okay? Then you write down your number line, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, blah, blah, blah. What we're doing, bigger than 3, that's all this lot. Now, in a discrete sense, that's 4 and up, Okay, bigger than 3 is 4 upwards. But just put a dot there, literally in a continuous sense, it's 3.5 and above, because 3.5 is halfway between 3 and 4. So if you just write out the numbers, if you do, for example, okay, one more, less than or equal to 13, that's your binomial, okay, your binomial. But you're going to model it with a normal. So less than or equal to 13, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, it's this lot here. It's all the ones that are 13 or less. Just put a little dot there. It's the same as 13.5 or less. So if you were then going to the normal distribution, you would do the probability that it's less than or equal to 13.5. I really, really hate the idea that with continuity corrections that you memorize some sort of list of when you add a half and when you subtract a half. It's ridiculous. If you just draw out that number line and put a line on it, it's obvious. Hope that answered the question. I can't even remember who asked it. Oh, hey Davina, looking gorgeous.
Oh, yeah, you can. I'm gonna throw. We've got Ella, Davina, ding dong, ding dong. I don't know if that's hearable on YouTube or not. Okay, so let's go. Davina, Ella, Shannon, just give us a quick hello, your name, and your experience of using TT. When did you start using?
They're all muted. They're all muted.
Yeah, they can unmute themselves now. I'm sure they can choose to unmute themselves at the time. It's probably best if when you're not speaking, just to mute yourself. So otherwise it gets a bit confusing with loads of people in the room. So Davina, when did you start with TT and roughly how much did you use it?
So hello everyone. I started TT in March of year 12. I got the ultimate guide and I used it probably every day. I absolutely loved it. I love being able to study at night. I'm a night owl. I like it at night. I used it before lessons as well, before biology. So I was ahead of my entire class for a good 2 years, and it was absolutely great being smarter than everyone.
So you were doing the lessons in advance of your class, which
yes, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. And you obviously found that useful because you did that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, let's just do a quick introduction to everyone, and then we'll come back and we'll take some questions from the group, basically. Ella, how about you?
So I started in probably year 12 in January for biology, and it just really boosted my confidence. I was going into the class ready with the exam questions, and it didn't really stop. I wasn't phased. I didn't have that knockdown that really puts students down. And I used it then for my chemistry, and I literally went from an E and then I got a B in the end for me, which is really amazing. So I really recommend it. Can't thank it enough.
Ella, a B is amazing for everyone. Like, not for me, that's amazing. It is amazing. Yeah. It's really, really good. A-level B chemistry, you're going to carry that for your whole life.
I got a B, I'm pretty sure, in my A-level chemistry. I actually struggle to remember what I got in my A-levels, which is a bit weird. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I got a B overall. I was told that I couldn't get an A, which was the only reason I got motivated in the end and did some work. Hey, Shannon, how about you? When did you come across us and what did you use it for?
Hello. So I came across Tailored Tutors. I think it was just after my January mock exams in year 12 where I got straight U's. And I used the biology course then, and I went from a U to a B at AS. And then I just continued to use the biology course throughout my A levels and started the chemistry course as well. And the chemistry course took me up like a ridiculous amount of grades from a U. And obviously the biology course also took me up grades, and here I am sat at uni at the minute. So yay.
Okay.
How's uni going? Are you enjoying it?
I am absolutely loving it. I'm learning so much. Like, I started on Tuesday and I've already learned so much. My mind's like blown.
And I was going to check, because one of the things that obviously it's funny, as an A-level teacher, your job is really to get people a good grade at A-level, and then like beyond that, nothing to do with us. But one of the things that we really, really want to be doing is to be giving people, and it sounds really stupid, but life skills, like teaching you how to learn independently, because it's something that me and Rich are fascinated by. How do you learn when you're not, like, without the responsibility being purely on the teacher? So what are the ways that you can learn to learn yourself? Is there anything about TT, Shannon, that you would say at uni? I know you've only been there a week, but in terms of learning style, or that you learned from TT that now is helpful at uni?
Colour scheme. Oh my gosh, I've taken the colour scheme away so much. Like,
Davina loves the colour scheme too, don't you, Davina? On mute.
My lecture notes are beautiful now. Like, I've got like blue for my titles and my subtitles, green for my examples, red for keywords and definitions and key information, and then black for the rest of it.
I do the exact same. I absolutely hated writing on lined paper and on portrait. So now I do everything on black paper with colours and all sort of they're all in felt tips as well. I don't use like Bics. I bought some barrels from Amazon. I thought my notes look nice, they look slick, and they're great for uni. Yeah.
So I actually, portrait notes is something that I don't make a big deal of, but humans have evolved to basically, it's way easier to scan the horizon than it is to sort of look up and down. So we sort of absorb information in the big picture way better when it's landscape than when it's portrait, which is a nice little quirk of the way that we write the notes. Ellie, you look like you're coughing there, but did you feel like it helped you in any other subjects? I mean, obviously biology and chemistry, because you use the videos for that. Did you use any of them? And you might say no to this. How did you find that using the videos helped in other ways?
I think it made me get a bit more concise and condensed with my work. Like for geography, that was my other A-level, and you have a lot of case studies, and I feel like the videos help me get to the point and just stick to the specification, stop going off topic. Like sometimes it's good, but like you want to save time, and that's really helped me, and it's helped me again now at uni as well, writing my notes. Like I'm sure I know what the waffle is, and I know what actually is the information I need to know. And I think tailored tutors like trains you up to just be a bit more better thinker, and just learn and take notes properly as well, I'd say.
Okay, so my next question, I'll go back to you, Ella, and then we'll sort of pass the same question around to the others. If there have been any questions from the community, throw them in and let me know, Ronnie, because then we can put them to the girls, all girls today. So value for money. I know one of the main things people say when you first look at it, looks really expensive. And how did you feel about its cost before you subscribed and then after you subscribed?
I think originally I thought it was quite pricey because I just presumed it was just a couple videos. I didn't really know what it was. And then obviously when I saw it and I actually started using it and saw the value of the videos and how much there was there and the support, and then as the months gone on, how much more content there was uploaded, it made me realise actually you're getting a lot for your money. It's pretty cheap compared to a tutor, and as well you're not paying for a tutor's time for an hour. You've got that and unlimited access. Like Davina said, she likes to work at night. Like I was able to use it early in the morning, say I got up maybe a bit time before school. Like it was there for me when I needed it and when it suited me, rather than working it around a tutor. So it was pretty cheap and it was long term as well.
Perfect. Shannon, what about your experiences? Did you think the same? A lot of people say they look at it and think, oh, it's expensive. And then they try it out and say, but what did you think?
So I thought it was really, really pricey at first. I was like, wow, like, can I really warrant that money? And then I got to a stage where I was looking into tutoring because I was so desperate to pass my A-levels as such. And so I was like, well, there's a tailored tutors free trial at the minute. Let's give it a go. And I was really worried it'd be like Snap Revise, but just a bit more expensive. But I think the thing that really helped me was the web classes, because the fact that you get to speak to other students in the same position as you get to send live questions and you get help there and then, you go through past papers and stuff like that. And like, obviously the 24/7 access is so handy. Like I would wake up early before my exams and just have a few hours of just like, what can I try and like, you know what I mean, just make sure I know before the exams. I just loved it really.
Awesome. And then Davina.
Can I mean, sorry, Davina, I'm interrupting you, but there's a question which I'm like itching to answer, and I'm holding myself back, which says, is tailored tutors maths any good?
Oh my God. Tailored tutors maths is the best thing in the world. So the maths course wasn't even out when I did it. It was about, I think Ronnie did the maths course in about a month before exams finished, and I had bought the course, and oh my God, it's not about maths. You know how to do math. That's fine. What you can't do is pick up all the mistakes that everybody does. I forget to do 2s and 5s. I mix them up all the time. So my answer is right. I just miss it out. I miss out on 2. I think the maths course is probably the best.
And before I made that maths course, what degree were you going to do this year?
Before the maths course, I was going to do medicine. And then on results day, I changed my mind and decided to go and do pure maths at Leicester University. So I changed. Yeah, sorry. So I'm team maths now. So medicine.
Excellent.
So
like how long till the maths videos are completed? I want to say like any minute now, but I don't want them to be rushed and rubbish. So I'm putting a lot of work into every single one. I don't want to just kind of chuck them out there. What I'm doing at the moment, I've got 8 planned out ready to go that I'm going to do tomorrow morning, and I'm doing them in the order that people are asking me to do them. So I think it's like more than 50% done now, but essentially what I'm doing is each day going on and seeing what emails I've got and what comments there are saying, can you do this one? So I'm doing, Davina, today I got one saying, can you do R cos X plus A? So that's the one I'm going to do next. Do you remember when we had that meeting and we were doing R cos X plus A with the baby? Rich, do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember the baby.
That was what I got asked to do today, so I'm quite excited. I'm going to do that one this weekend. And also like force diagrams, a lot of questions about force diagrams, SUVAT when you've got connected particles and you're doing Newton's second law, and then maybe a bit of SUVAT at the end when the particle hits the floor and bounces and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm doing it. I'm getting there, and it won't be long. Weeks, 3 weeks, something like that, but I'm doing it in the order now that people are asking me, so that, because obviously I don't know what people are doing at college, so I'm getting messages and I'm doing it in that order. And also, like, don't forget, even if the video isn't there, if you've got a specific question and you're on the Try Ultimate free for this week, you can just upload questions. So if there's no video there, it doesn't mean I can't help you. I am here. You can put a question up and say, I'm stuck on this, and I can help you with that exact question. So while the video isn't there, I can still help you with that particular topic.
There was a question that was posted a little while ago. I nearly missed it. It was like, how long do you think year 12 A-level student should revise? Or how long, or how do you think a year 12 student should revise? Okay, to begin with, a year 12 student, you're probably not going to be revising. Like, revision is like revisiting old stuff. So in the year 12, the majority of your time is going to be learning stuff. That said, you should never just like learn it once and then forget about it until just before your exam. You should be sort of recapping or sort of keeping up to date on that kind of stuff. I'll put it to the students, actually, see what their advice is, and I'll top it off with some advice at the end. Let's go from my screen right to left. Let's go Shannon first. What do you think, year 12 student? How should a year 12 student revise? Any advice from you? Someone who's been there, done it?
It really depends. I think like there's a different revision method for everyone. Yes. So like for me, it was a lot of like I use quite a lot of faster learning, which is something covered in the tailored tutors courses, and I also use something called action hours, which is like a really similar thing to the Pomodoro technique, but it's like the tailored tutors version. It's just like a lot of sort of repetition and like using color and stuff like that, which is pretty much the basis of faster learning.
Awesome. Ella, what do you think? Like, any advice to there? I mean, obviously it kind of depends on what you're struggling on, but any top tips on year 12 students, and like maybe not leaving it to the last minute would be something a lot of students tell us when they get to the end of year 13.
I found helpful for me was that I kept on top of what I was studying at the time in class. So whether it's before or after your lesson, maybe watching the video, and then as you go along, you're up to date with it, and then you can know what your weaknesses are. And then by the end, when it comes to revision, you know what you need to look over, or maybe what videos you want to revisit. And I think that you're in control. So when it comes to exam time, you're not in a panic, because at the end of the day, it's year 12, and you need to stay in a calm focus. When you get to year 13, you know how to deal with it.
And it doesn't get any easier, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Really good advice. And also, like, in terms of the keeping on top of things, now that we've got that traffic light system that we're going to rename, but the traffic light system for each, what Ella's saying is like, it's not just a case of working through the syllabus, it's a case of keeping a record of what topics you might need to come back to. So by flagging them up as red, or whatever that's going to get called, you can then look down your list and see you know, which topic should I've got a spare 5 minutes, which one shall I go back to that I didn't understand before? Have another look, see if it's any better, notch it up to amber, notch it up to green. And
Rage was suggested for.
Rage.
I saw that was one of the only ones that I saw was including Rage was the red one, which I was quite a nice one. I like the idea.
That's good. I like that. Rage. Yeah, because that is how you feel when you don't get it. Is yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they probably couldn't see
furious. I hate this subject. I hate it. Yeah, good. Red is rage. I like that.
So frustrating, which is why it's so handy to have someone who can answer your questions within, you know, you ask a question, you get a reply a day later. Like that frustration just sort of disappears a little bit. Davina, I know that last year we didn't have the traffic light system, which is a working title for the time being. Have you had a chance to see that at all in the course? Or what did you think? Do you think that would have been useful to you? Or, I mean, some students, it's obviously there if you want it. You don't have to use it, but what do you think about that?
So actually, I've been having some fun looking at Ronnie's videos for maths, just to see, I can remember some of this. And I've been doing red for ones that I just don't want to bother doing because I can do them already. Greens are the ones that I want to look at. And then yellows are the ones I should look at, but I probably won't because I'm enjoying uni.
Nice. So you got we had a suggested system from a student via an email the other day, just saying that, yeah, they were using they were marking everything red on the first watch, and then on the second watch they were marking everything amber, and on the third watch they were marking them green. And we've had
that's a good idea.
Yeah, so you can just do it as 1 watch, 2 watch, 3 watches, or you could do maybe you've watched it, or you've watched it. Maybe amber could be watched it and written notes, and then watched it, written notes, and answered questions could be green. There's lots of different ways that you can use it, and you can kind of personalize that a little bit.
Rich, can I interrupt you because Kai had asked a question a while ago, and I was slightly worried for him. I paid for the A-level, or her, I'm not sure. I paid for the A-level biology course, couldn't find the videos on essay questions.
The essay course is AQA students only. That's basically all including the revision courses, which come out in the spring. If you're mad keen to have the essay course, you can send us an email and we can maybe do something about that. But basically the revision courses are going to be there for students because you need to know basically, like the essays are designed to be super broad. They're A for their AQA only. If you're OCR, Edexcel biology student, don't panic because you don't have to write one. But if you are an AQA student, they're designed to tie together all the knowledge, which is why they come together, which is why I release it in April. Basically 1st of April, we're releasing all the revision courses. So that will be there available then. If you're mad keen, send us an email. We'll have to do something about it. Okay, so what's the best way to use it from Warder? Let's go again. Let's go. Ella, what would you say? It's a bit of a broad question. What's the best way to use it? Maybe you can just give us a one minute response to how you used it or what you found.
So yeah, like I said as well, I used it before my lessons, and then to be fair, as I was going along from year 12 and into the beginning of like halfway through year 13, it was before my lessons. I'd go in, I'd write notes so that when I was sitting down amongst everyone else, I kind of knew what was going on. And I feel like that's sometimes easy because sometimes you don't really understand what your teacher's saying, or maybe the way they're saying it just doesn't make sense to you. And that helped me. But then when it came to revision time, maybe year 12 mocks, and most importantly, when it would start to be like time like after January, year 13, when you wanted to actually start revising, I did it in like blocks of my of the topics, and then I'd go through it, and then I'd do like sounds weird, but I did like a mind map where I'd kind of crash everything onto it and see what I remember. And then from that, I look at my notes. I fitted all my every video onto one cue card, and I'd go through the cue cards and check if I've got everything on it. And if not, I'd rewatch the video. And the videos were just helpful, saying the morning of an exam, to just watch it really quickly. I used to turn the speed up a little quicker, and that was how I used it, and it really helped me.
Yeah,
it was my textbook.
And like that sounds like, if I'm a student who doesn't know it, that sounds like a lot of work, which it is. I mean, there's no escaping it's going to be a lot of work. But how does that amount of work compare to if you'd done this equivalent amount of learning from a textbook or other methods?
Well, for me, I take some time. My problem is waffle. So I would read a textbook. I would think I need to know absolutely everything word for word in that textbook. And to do one page of just that, my AQA biology textbook, I brought it with me, but I haven't looked at it since, it would take me about an hour, probably about more than an hour. An hour is the minimum. whereas the video was 5 minutes. So for me, I could fit in a whole topic in probably an hour rather than one page, which was probably like one bullet point worth of one of your videos. So I think it saved a lot of my time, and it allowed me to get more confident on topics quite quickly.
Sweet. And Shannon, in fact, I don't know about you, but we've had lots of students say that the amount of time that it sort of frees up because it's more condensed. Did you find that in the beginning you were like checking the textbook as well because you thought maybe this is a bit too good to be true? It can't only be a 7-minute video where it's like 4 pages in my textbook. Did you eventually just trust the course and forget your textbook? That was a question.
Yeah, at first I was like kind of cross-checking with the textbook. I was like, is this everything I need to know? Like, is he just kind of cutting corners here? Because I don't know what this is about. And I think, I can't remember exactly when, but I did actually just like completely just leave my textbook in the corner of my bedroom and say, look, the videos have got everything I need to know. And then I kind of made my own sort of folder. All of the Taylor Tutors notes were in there, and it was like my own little mini textbook. And like even now, like I will like go back and double check my like Taylor Tutors notes and stuff like for university. So I think that just shows like they are really efficient, and like the color schemes and everything like shows you exactly what you need to know where, which is so helpful.
Awesome.
Oh, sorry. Can I keep interrupting Davina? Go, Davina. I'll talk after.
Which question am I answering?
In terms of saving you time, did you feel like you needed to keep going back to the textbook to supplement your notes you use from the course, or does the videos in the subjects, do they have everything you need?
So initially I went back to the textbook because I thought people have written the textbook for our board, so surely it should be right and it should be the best way of learning. But after about a month, I didn't actually use my textbook. My textbook is still actually at home somewhere under thousands of sheets of paper. It saves a lot of time because everything is condensed. You are learning from some of the best teachers in the world, I think. And saving time means you get to spend time with your friends. You get to have hobbies. You get to go out. You get to go and have a pint on your 18th birthday, and actually
or work more if you want to work more.
No, but actually enjoying being a teenager, that is way more important than getting 3 A stars. Being a person is way more important, and that's why cutting out of time and doing hobbies and being a person and actually having a job even during A-levels. I had a job during A-levels and it was great having extra time.
Yeah, I think I've been right. Who was I doing this physics question for with the ammeter? I've written it all. I've got my little picture of the circuit, and I'm using all of my V equals IR and all of the equations to sort it out. But I'm doing it like 3 seconds and then answering questions. So I'm not getting that far, but hopefully in a minute I will have solved that question. But of all of these questions that I've just been going through and like jotting down and making sure that we answer, I think the most important one says, every time I think too much about A-levels, I get really scared and start panicking. I feel like I want to run away because of the pressure. You know, there's pressure from teachers, there's pressure from parents, there's pressure from friends, there's pressure from society, and it is a really, really difficult time of your life. And I think that it is really, really important that you have people around you reinforcing the message that it doesn't matter in a like, oh, sod it, like A-levels, who cares? Not that, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just a stage of your life, and you go through, and maybe you end up with the subjects that you chose being totally wrong, and then you go off and you have some time out, and you don't have qualifications. I've got friends with no degree earning 4 times what I earn, 4 times with no degree, because they went into accountancy and just worked their way up through that system. There's people I know who did degrees all the way through, £50,000 worth of debt in a particular subject, thinking that it was a good subject to do, and then they realize they don't actually like it, and they chose that subject because it was a good subject, and then they go off and they're an artist, or they start following their nose. It's a really difficult time of life, and there is a lot of pressure, and I think it was really honest of that person to actually type in those words and say it's scary and I feel under pressure, and that's important. And one of the things that we absolutely do with our students every single week in the classes is just touch base. How are you? How are you doing? How are you feeling? you know, what you worried about, that kind of thing. It's not just about the content, it's about having that, you know, being there for you over the next year or 2 years while you study, not just to help you pass the exams in a kind of like, you know, content driven way, but also to help you to cope with that stress and that pressure and that weight that's on you that isn't really, in the grand scheme of things, that important. It's just not. I hope that doesn't contradict my entire job. Speaking of which, I'll slip this in. Somebody said, is the math suitable for Edexcel? Yeah, I write the mark schemes for the Edexcel. So yeah, I'm a senior examiner for Edexcel. I help write the mark schemes for Edexcel. So yes, very suitable for Edexcel. Absolutely.
I don't know if that was the comment you're replying to, but it's like every time I think about A-levels too much, I get really scared and start panicking. I feel like
exactly.
Yeah, especially.
I think very brave to type that in.
Yeah,
and
sure.
and that is exactly how lots and lots of people feel. Very, very common way of feeling.
There's a question from Ben earlier on that I missed about the question packs by topic for chemistry. Rich is currently designing a whole load of specific question packs to go alongside all the webinars. So yes, all those questions are coming. He's still finishing his course right now, so that will be there. But certainly by, you know, give it a month or two and you'll have all the documents will be ready to go. Some of the special revision documents will be in the revision courses. As I said, they come out in April, but all the documents that are going to support the weekly web classes that you get are going to be already up to date pretty soon. Emmy had a question, I think, for Shannon. What course she's gone on to do and how you're coping with a step up from A-levels. And how did Taylor Tutors help with that step, was the question from Emmy. It was specific.
A big question. So I've gone on to study biomedical sciences at university. I'm really enjoying it. I think the big thing about Taylor Tutors helping with the step up was definitely the colour scheme. So like starting that from the get-go with my university notes, I think it's going to be really, really fundamental. Like later on having a look back at them and going, this is important, this is not so important, but it's still important enough to be there, and like the examples and stuff, which I think would be really helpful. And obviously, I mean, I enjoyed using the Taylor Tutors courses so much that I'm now actually doing A-level maths alongside my degree with Ronnie.
Yeah. Shannon, you haven't asked me any questions yet.
I haven't yet. I'm going to get some, promise.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ryan just asked for the traffic light competition, does it have to be related to the colour? Doesn't have to. We're going to pick the one we like the most. So I like the idea of having like red for rage being an example, you know, something to associate it with. It makes it easier to understand because that's what learning's all about. Rich, we're looking at the cheat sheet and you noticed there was a few topics missing. That I wrote the cheat sheet for all the examples together. What I'm thinking of doing this year is like separate, having a cheat sheet for AQA, OCR, and Excel, and then I can add all of the topics in. But obviously I didn't want to put content on there that wasn't relevant to some of you. So I just took all the common content, bunged it in there, and that's how I created a cheat sheet. So yes, watch this space. Then 100% that will get sorted out. But yeah, I know that it's not totally complete, but it was designed that way, not just because I forgot about them. I do know what's on the spec, believe it or not.
I think Sean's question is really important. That when I look at the textbook and what I've been taught in lesson, and Ella, you were talking about this as well. I remember it from when I did A-levels. How are you supposed to know what you're supposed to know? How are you supposed to know that? And you go to a lesson and they give you this amount of information. And then if you're a diligent student, you then open your textbook and you compare and you go, oh my God, I was given information in the class that isn't in the textbook, and there's information in the textbook that isn't what I was given in class. So presumably I need to like fill in all the details. I need to learn the entire textbook, and also, and it's horribly stressful. And one of the things that we are sure that we have done is that our courses cover all of it. So if you've been through our course, then that is enough. It's smaller because we've worked really flipping hard to pull it down and pull it down and pull it down into exactly what you need to know. But I think one of the things we hope is really good about our course is that you can trust us to have covered all of it, to know all of it and have covered all of it, so that you don't have to keep going. Or I've got like 3 different textbooks from different publishers, and I used to, with my A-levels, compare textbooks. Like this one, I know, this one, I think I've now covered all of this, but this one, it seems to be a tiny, tiny sentence that, how much time did I spend comparing textbooks and trying to work out what I was supposed to know? Silly amount of time. So yeah.
Wouldn't you agree, Ronnie? Like it's not like making the course bigger and adding stuff to it.
No.
Anyone can go through the textbooks and like basically, you know, synthesize them, make their own version. But what you need to know, what the experience of someone like you or me who's just done this for years is like, what can we take out? We take out as much as we can while still leaving 100% of the knowledge you need to know. So the skill is making it short, not making it long. It's much harder work, many more hours in prep, for me anyway, making a short course than it is making a long course.
Yeah, definitely. It's harder to make a short course.
In fact, I'll just go once back more. We haven't had many questions for. Can you ask Shannon if she wants a drink, please? I'm sure it's probably Freshers Week, or you just finished Freshers Week. She's probably had plenty of drinks. Although it's.
Oh, you know. Rich, this can be like the first Taylor Tutors live web class set up, and then it leads to a wedding, and then you and I get to go with Rich, and then we get to go to the wedding, and it would be like the first ever Taylor Tutors wedding. It'd be really exciting.
You suggesting that these girls have got some admirers out there anyway?
Yeah, I am suggesting that, yes.
Moving on. So I can't remember what exactly I was going to say. I was going to go to each of the students who are with us, and I've forgotten my question. I had a really good one. Well, I can see
Emmy's asked a really good question, I think, particularly for Shannon. What course are you gonna do? What course are you doing now? But this is all three of you. How are you coping with that step up from A levels, and how has Taylor Tutors helped you with that step up? Good question from Emmy.
So I actually was applying for medicine, and then on results day I decided, you know what, screw that, I'm going to go and do maths instead, because my grade in maths was a lot higher than I expected. So I went through the entire medicine process. And the second thing about the step up from university to A level, there's a lot less work at university. Unless you're doing dentistry, medicine, or veterinary science, I think the workload's a lot harder because you have a 9 to 5 day. But the difference is, if you learn how to learn, that's a skill that's transferable for all of uni. So if you know how to study and how to condense your notes and how to revise, it means you have all that extra time to do everything else at university. University isn't about having a degree. Well, it is, but being part of everything, going to societies, and I'm going to say it again, just go and have some fun at school and college in sixth form and join music, sports, hockey, and anything you want. So just learn how to learn. Taylor Tutors will definitely teach you that.
Sweet. I feel like we should probably start rounding things off. Any other burning questions out there, we'll get either put to the students, or you can put, if it's maths or biology questions, throw them through to us. Don't forget, basically, if you have any of those subject homework help questions, you can join us on Saturday at 3 p.m. to ask us those. If you log into the course, you will see on the free trial contents page where to sign up. There's actually a load of places to sign up, but that's the easiest one to find. I just had a few questions. There was a question, what is the most similar example for WJEC? I'm assuming for biology and chemistry, I can certainly answer AQA is the most similar. If it's maths, I don't know. I don't even, well, they must do maths. I suppose it's the Welsh exam, but everyone in Wales must do maths.
Yeah, no one's ever asked me about it.
Yeah, I think very small, but biology and chemistry, it's growing. So I pick AQA, and that's probably the most overlap for you guys.
Other thing, Rich, Tasnim a while ago asked about the web classes, whether they are exam board specific, and also like what's it like? Like, is it us teaching, or is it all Q&A, or is it a mixture, or like what are the weekly classes like that they get those 2 hours a week?
Okay, so those weekly classes, you get an hour for year 12 content, hour for year 13 content. They're going to be for all the exam boards, but obviously we've designed them in such a way that we will be asking the right questions so that everything in there is relevant to all of you. Now, in 1 hour a week, I can't cover the entire A-level specification throughout the year. So there are parts of them that we are not going to be able to get to in an hour a week, just because the way the session works. So what we're going to do is all that, where the overlap is between the courses is the core content. Everyone learns about enzymes in biology. Everyone learns about titrations in chemistry. Like, all the really core content that you've got to know is the content that overlaps. So that's the content that we'll be covering and doing exam questions on and teasing out the answers. And because we're not literally going to be able to get to everything anyway, all the bits that are just specific to your exam board, you can cover in the videos, and I'll be producing questions so you can do your questions to those. And then maybe once in a while, we'll see how it goes, but maybe once in a while I'll do an exam board specific check-in, and you can just throw me some questions so it's exam board specific, but no promises on that just yet. There was another question about further maths and whatnot, Ronnie.
Oh, yeah, no, further maths, I think I replied to that. Like, the trouble with the further maths is that for the new specification, there's two things. One, for the new specification, colleges and schools can choose from a huge variety of different units. So for me to make sure that I've covered the units you're doing, I would have to do 9 times as much as you're doing in terms of content creation. That's one thing. And obviously the number of students that is doing it, the course is much lower, so there's less demand for it. And also, even as a subset of the students doing that course, the number of students who want help with it is much lower, because further mathematicians tend to be like very, very bright mathematicians who can just learn from a textbook. So if you combine all of those things, at the moment, it isn't my priority. My priority at the moment is students just doing the main maths A level. In the future, not sure, but for this year, no, that's not going to be my priority at all. There was a question, I'm not sure now, I think everybody is trying to help with this. Got to make my own biology experiment, find the effect of nutrients on yeast fermentation. I think lots of people have suggested things. I'm not sure if...
Well, first of all, you've got to have a think about what are the nutrients that are going to affect growth. Well, first thing where all biology questions are going to go is to nitrogen and proteins. You've got carbohydrates and you've got lipids, are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen only. Proteins are weird and special and essential for life, and they require the element of nitrogen. So one of the suggestions would be adding some nitrate or removing some nitrate. So you could have differing nitrate concentrations. You'd need to make sure it was in a form that was soluble, so nitrites or nitrate, as opposed to being various other forms of nitrogen, which you basically can't access. So it depends whether you need to give a range of different things that would affect growth, but also you could do basically anything to investigate. And the great things about investigations, it doesn't matter if they don't work. So, you know, if you vary the magnesium ion concentration in the solutions, keeping all other variables the same, then if it has no change, then you've learned something from it. You know that yeast do not use magnesium in order to, and that doesn't affect their rate of respiration or their rate of cell division. What else would you want to do? So you want to say that obviously all the temperatures are controlled. Yeast are very small. So you want to make sure that you have equal volumes. You want to make the concentration of yeast in a big batch the same, and then you want to have equal volumes of each so that you've got a roughly equal starting point for all of those. You want to maybe control light intensity, and things like humidity can all affect the experiment. You probably don't want to be going into how are you going to measure the rate of respiration? You can do that by volume of gas produced. Are you going to use it volume of oxygen consumed? You could use. There's lots of questions out there on that in past papers. So wood lice and using, I think it's potassium hydroxide to absorb the carbon dioxide that's produced, and then a bubble moving through a capillary tube. You can use that. So Paulie, I maybe state the question one more time. I'll see if there's anything to add to that. What I would do is, It was, I have to make my own biology experiment. I need to find the effect of nutrients on yeast fermentation. The effect of nutrients. Okay, well, to start with, obviously, you're going to have maybe some sugars. Carbohydrates are the fuel. You can add basically any sugar because they'll make, if you add like a more complex sugar, like a polysaccharide, I'm forgetting my words, then the yeast is going to have to produce some enzymes to snap open to break up that polysaccharide into disaccharides and monosaccharides so it can start hydrolyzing it. So if you use a complex sugar, it's going to take longer. The lag time on the graph will be longer. If you add like glucose, with like fast ready glucose, the one that you can absorb straight away and then start aspiring with, you're going to get a faster response. So maybe you could vary glucose concentration. Maybe you could try different types of sugars in that experiment. You could choose glucose, fructose, galactose. You can use disaccharides, sucrose, fructose, lactose. You could choose some polysaccharides. You add some starch, add some other things. So that'd be one set of suggestions. If you want to compare different Nutrients is a very broad term. So yeah, you could do some nitrogen containing compounds, you could do different fat containing compounds. That would be my selection. And then obviously you're going to need to keep all other variables the same. I know it's 9 o'clock. We've been taking these girls. Any more questions from the community to our wonderful TT students? Thanks so much for joining us.
Did we talk about the web classes?
Did I talk about web classes? Well, they're going to be, what, 2 hours per week per subject?
Yeah, basically, I can't remember if we actually answered this question, but it's going to be a combination is the answer. We're not just going to sit there saying, right, what are your questions, like a private tutor would, because we're also taking some responsibility for working with you towards finishing this course and doing really super well. So that means that we are going to make sure that you're covering certain topics early enough in the year to give you a chance to get your head around it. And it also means that we're going to be going back over things we've already covered to make sure you haven't forgotten them. So maybe 50-50, we're going to be taking responsibility for that learning and saying, right, we want you to do this, we want you to do this, to remember things that from before, or look at things that you might not have looked at yet. And then the other half, questions, Q&A. So it'll be a combination of the two.
Let's Bend says, does the unlimited free trial for Tailored Tutors website cover all the specifications required for the respective exam boards? Yes, it covers, the unlimited free trial is everything. And the unlimited, something maybe I haven't mentioned is that the unlimited, try unlimited free coupon is it's not something that's going to be on all year. If you want to do this next month and beyond, that's not going to be an option. This is like basically, I don't know whether we'll do another one, but there's certainly nothing planned. It's a bit of a special one, this one. So it's the beginning of the year. We want to show you guys how it works from the very beginning. AJ asked the girls, maybe we'll do this as our final closing goodbye to the room. How did you do in your A-levels? Let's go Davina and then Ella and then Shannon, and then we can say goodbye unless we get any more crazy questions in the next 30 seconds. So over to you, Davina.
I did really well. I was really proud of my results in the end. And I did apply for medicine and I'm really happy I didn't do it. I'm so happy I'm doing maths. Maths is so much cooler. It's fun. Oh, I'm such a maths nerd now. I need to get like a maths t-shirt or something.
I'll get you a maths t-shirt. Maths is really fun. I didn't want to do maths either. I didn't want to do maths. I was going to do psychology and I changed last second and I'm so glad. Yeah.
I changed and I got the choice to change again today and I thought, should I go and do psychology instead? And then I thought, let's do a heads, let's toss a coin. And it came out with heads, so I meant maths. I stuck with maths though.
Coins know the way of the future.
Definitely.
Awesome. Thanks, Davina. See you again soon. What about you, Ella? You don't have to give grades specifically, but like, how did you do qualitatively or quantitatively?
Yeah, for me, I got my predicted grades, which my teacher gave me reluctantly out of thinking, oh, she's not going to get it. We'll give it to her to get her on a list of the uni. But here I am. I'm now in Manchester doing biology and I'm just loving it. It's just amazing. And I just wish I could tell myself a few months ago, it's all going to be okay. Like, you're stressing now, but just work hard and you've got it. And I love it. And for anyone that's like watching this, actually doing their A-levels now, like, just keep going, work hard, don't doubt yourself. I'm really happy with my grades and I'm really proud of myself for what I've achieved. Yeah. So thank you as well.
You did good, Ella.
And Shannon?
So, well, I mean, I'm studying biomedical sciences at university, so I think that gives you all an inkling as to how I did. And like, I'm really happy like with the course and everything, and I was really happy on results day. I've met some great people and stuff, and I think like exactly what Ella said, like it gets really hard towards the end, and you're like final push, and it is so worth it. And I think the support that I received from like the tutors as well, like I can't comment on like obviously Ronnie, but you know, I'm getting the support from us now, so it's all good. But especially like Rich, like if I was ever having any issues, like I can remember typing the biggest email ever to Chemistry Rich, and he'd replied like by the time I woke up the following morning, he was like, it'll be fine, like don't stress. And then like we were talking about like the webinars and everything, and it was just so handy to just have that support there like 24/7. Like you could ask questions whenever you wanted. It was just great. Like definitely give the free trial a go, and you know, I would look into investing in it. Like if you're thinking about it, go for it.
Awesome. And I'm going to basically, I don't think there's any more questions. Thanks again so much for joining us. I'm going to just share my screen, just remind people of a few final bits and pieces from us so you don't forget. I know we've been banging you on the head, but we get asked the questions over and over again. So I feel like I need to tell you over and over again. If you've got any friends you want to bring along to try it out until Sunday, they can do so with the unlimited free trial there. If you guys have been using the unlimited free trial and you want to actually use it free for an entire month, you just go to the courses page and any of the ultimate courses are free for the first month. All the information on that is basically, in fact, all the competitions. Once you've signed into your course, the TSR free trial over there, you can go through all the competitions there. I suggest you enter them. You've got a very, very good chance of winning. And if you want more than your free week, all the instructions on the coupon code, where to put it, yada, 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 all what's called the small print I did in nice big print. You can read this through. That's exactly what we're offering. You can unsubscribe at any time that you like. You just log in. In fact, if you log in to unsubscribe, somebody wanted to ask that, you just click on the little avatar here. You can manage subscriptions and you can just end your subscription from there. Super duper easy. Leave all those reviews. Please do leave a comment on these student room threads. I want to know. I want you guys to share your knowledge of what Tailored Tutors is and all about, and you can leave your opinions on both of these. It would mean a lot to me because it makes a big difference. Ronnie, any final words from you?
Just to say I really enjoyed tonight. It was really good.
Awesome.
And Connected Particles, go on the course. Use the Try Ultimate free. Put up questions. I'm going to do some videos this weekend on Connected Particles, but Connected Particles, all it is separate them out, use Newton's second law on each particular one, and then do simultaneous equations. That will work 100%.
Okay, awesome. And also join us on Saturday. You can bring any questions you want on Saturday. It's just going to be a free drop-in homework help. You can come and ask us your questions. You're going to have biology, chemistry, and maths, and that's basically it. Thanks to all of you. Chaos going on in the pandemonium. Hi to everyone in the chat. We'll see you all again very soon. Bye for now.